If I ask you, what is dignity? Can you put a price on dignity? What would your answer be? People to spend money in order to save face. Whether it is buying an expensive car to show off to friends and relatives, or going on an extravagant vacation to impress others, people are constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses. While there is nothing wrong with wanting to better oneself, the problem arises when people start spending more money than they can afford in an attempt to improve their image, or cover up their true financial status. This can lead to financial ruin and cause a lot of stress and anxiety, including things like financial problems and relationship issues. In this video, I'm going to share with you 2 true stories. We'll explore some tips for avoiding the traps of overspending money to save face. One way that overspending to save face can have negative consequences is by putting you into debt. If you're trying to keep up with your friends or relatives who have more money than you may end up using credit cards to make purchases you can't really afford. This can lead to credit card debt, which can be difficult to pay off. Another way that overspending to save face can have negative consequences is opportunity cost, causing you to miss out on important things. If you're spending all of your money on trying to keep up with others, you may not have enough left over for other important things. This can impact your financial security in the future. What happens when you keep spending to keep up with Joneses, or try to cover up your true financial status? Here are the true stories I'm going to share with you. John and Mary had higher education degrees than other relatives. Because of the psychology of superiority, John and Mary constantly overspend money to save face during their entire work time from 20 to 60 years old. They had no financial plan, no retirement savings or investing, which put a financial strain on their 3 children, Mike, Sean, and Felicia. Their solution was to send Sean to the US to study for a PhD. They believed the highest degree would bring the highest income. However, Sean was laid off numerous times by companies in the US. It's pretty common nowadays, through no fault of the workers. With high expectations from his parents, Sean was under intense pressure to provide money to satisfy his sense of superiority. Sean not only had to make ends meet for his own family, but also to satisfy his parents' financial expectations in order to constantly save face among relatives and friends. As a result, it created huge family conflicts and problems. Mike and Sean could not afford to have more kids of their own. Felicia could not get married until her 50s. The members of this extended family have decreased. Their extended families don't interact with each other due to money and emotional conflicts. What is the true cost of spending money to save face? Another true story is the opposite of the first story. David and Kelly are less educated than their other relatives. They live with their parents in a wealthy neighborhood. Due to their inferiority complex, David and Kelly hoped that their children would be happy and live a good life from birth. Compared to wealthy families, they provide their children with everything they ask for, eat expensive foods, wear designer clothes, go on luxury vacations, and so on. Their kids were spoiled and grew up with no effort to get anything they wanted. They had no motivation to do their homework and had terrible learning attitudes. David and Kelly are always spending money on solving problems, even human problems. What they don't realize is that spoiling their children is spending money to create bigger problems. They have no savings for a rainy day or a down payment on a first home, let alone college tuition and retirement savings. Children grow up during their teenage years and learn who they are. They find it difficult to adjust to reality and accept the truth about their parents' financial situation. Teenagers became rebels, bought knives and participated in gang activities. Are their children as happy now as David and Kelly hoped they would be? Can you hide your financial status from your kids forever? When it comes to our finances, we can all be a little guilty of overspending from time to time. Whether it's buying that new pair of shoes we've been eyeing or going out for drinks with friends, sometimes it can be hard to stick to our budget. However, overspending can really put a damper on our finances, so it's important to be mindful of our spending habits. Here are a few tips to help you avoid the traps of overspending to save face. 1. Make a financial plan and stick to it. One of the best ways to avoid overspending is to plan out your budget in advance. Determine how much you can realistically afford to spend each month, and then break down your expenses accordingly. This will help you stay on track and avoid impulse purchases. 2. Don't spend more than you earn. Living above your means can put a serious dent in your finances if you aren't careful. While you probably don't need to be frugal to the extreme, you should steer clear of expensive and unnecessary purchases like new cars, luxury apartments, and fancy vacations if you're still trying to get your financial footing. This doesn't mean you can't treat yourself every once in a while. How much you spend versus how much you earn is one of the key factors that can make or break your financial health. While this sounds simple enough, Life can get in the way sometimes. Whether you have a couple of unexpected expenses that tank your budget, you lose a source of income, or you just don't quite make enough to meet your basic needs each month. 3. Know your triggers. We all have our own spending triggers, whether it's bad money habits, peer pressure, or brand loyalty. Once you know what your triggers are, you will be able to avoid and control them. 4. Don't be selfish or rely on others financially. Be responsible financially for yourself. Not become a financial burden of your spouse, significant others, your parents, and your children. 5. Take advantages of a 401k match or any money-saving benefits. 1 in 4 employees doesn't save enough to receive the full 401k match provided by his employer, according to a report by investment advisory firm Financial Engines. That means the average employee leaves $1,336 in his employer's coffers each year. That's like telling your boss you didn't want a pay raise this year. It's recommended to max out your 401k contributions, but at the very least you should contribute enough to get your employer's match. 6. Don't assume life will always be like it is today. Not planning for future downfalls is one of the worst habits that can lead to overspending. It's easy to assume life will always be as rosy as it is today, but, for some people, that won't be the case. If you don't plan for life's downsides, you don't leave room for error, unexpected events or emergencies, and that can wreak havoc on your budget. 7. Stop making impulse purchases. Adding a pack of gum to your shopping cart at the grocery store checkout might not seem like a big deal, but habitual impulse shopping is. Online retailers, for example, have added new tricks to entice you to return to your abandoned digital shopping cart, such as by emailing you reminders and promotional offers, and making it easier than ever to make purchases, like offering in-store pickup. Those unplanned expenses can easily ruin a well-planned budget if not kept in check. 8. Don't let FOMO get the best of you. Fear of missing out, aka FOMO, can cause you to spend money unnecessarily. You need to turn off social media sometimes so that you don't always cave to FOMO, said Martin Dasko, author of Next Rounds on Me, How to Achieve Financial Freedom in Your 20s and the Studonomics blog. This dangerous habit convinces you that you're always missing out and that you need to participate in everything, Dasko said. It's okay to stay in. It's okay to do your own thing. You're not always going to miss out. And quote. 9. Stop obsessing on luxury goods or cars. Brand loyal customers often get the first crack at coupons and special deals, but they're also more likely to spend on things they don't truly need. People who shop exclusively for a particular brand are at risk of sabotaging a financial plan. Let's face it, a $25,000 car and a $100,000 car will both take you between points A and B. Is the more expensive car worth jeopardizing your financial future? 10. Breaking off spending money as an addiction. Avoid window shopping and shopping as a hobby. You'll spend less. If you simply remove or avoid temptation, you're much more likely to spend less. On the list of things to waste money on, smartphone apps are a big one. Those $1.99 purchases seem inexpensive enough, but they can snowball, especially if you have kids who are adding to the overall purchase price or frequency. Consider free app downloads exclusively or cap yourself and your family with a monthly app budget. 11. Automatically save and invest for future needs, for emergencies and retirement. Knowing what you have left less, you will spend less. You should always aim to spend less than you make each month, with the goal of saving at least 20% of your income each month. An automatic investment plan allows you to automatically transfer a specific amount of money from your paycheck to your investment account, 401k, 403b, IRA, 529 accounts, etc. regularly. It makes investing easy and building your wealth in the long run. 12. Set up autopay to pay in full your monthly bills. Putting your bills on autopay is a simple and seamless way to budget each month. Once you autosave your income each month, you will be confident you can autopay in full your monthly bills. It not only becomes hassle-free and debit-free, but also builds up great credit scores for you. Advantages of great credit scores include credit card rewards, higher credit limits, lower interest rates, and more purchasing, lending, and negotiating power. If you're prone to overspending, it's best to avoid using credit cards. This way, you won't be tempted to spend more than you can afford. Instead, use cash or debit cards for your purchases. In conclusion, overspending to save face can lead to stress and anxiety. When you're constantly worrying about how you're going to afford everything, it can take a toll on your mental health. This can impact your overall quality of life. If you're overspending to save face, it's important to be aware of the potential consequences. Getting in debt, missing out on investment for future needs, and stress and anxiety can all be negative outcomes of this behavior. Be mindful of your spending and make sure you're doing what's best for you, not what's best for others. If you find yourself spending money to save face, it is important to take a step back and reevaluate your priorities. Next time you're tempted to overspend to save face, remember the saying, you can't put a price on dignity. It's better to be happy and comfortable in your own skin than to try to impress others. Don't become a financial burden of your loved one. You will earn greater respect from your loved one by not spending money to save your face and impress others.